So welcome, everybody. Welcome to our meeting. So glad to have you all here. It's a very unusual meeting. Doesn't offer any advice. Doesn't give any suggestions. It's saying that there's just what's happening. Whatever's happening right there. Exactly as it's happening. And it's just not happening to anybody. That's the assumption, that there's a me here located somewhere in the body or in the head. And this me is constantly struggling because it believes it has a life. You don't have anything. There's already no one here to have anything, to make any choices, to make any decisions. There's nobody separate to do any of that. So whatever's appearing for you is already wholeness, is already complete, whether it's frustration, anger, annoyance, whatever. Wish I could get this. Those thoughts aren't actually talking to anybody. And it really is painful to be on the hamster wheel of thinking that you're a somebody you have to achieve. And, it's so gosh darn hard trying to control other people. So frustrating. I was just on the phone with my sister before this meeting, and she just broke up with her boyfriend, and everything was fine until he sent an email, which she interpreted as nasty and unnecessary and petty. And so now she's been steaming, all because of this little one email that he should not have sent, she told me. Why did he send it? He could have just as easily not sent it. Well, I'm not sure what universe the non-sending is happening in, but I do know that he sent it. And it's going to play out how it plays out. But the idea that there's anyone in any of the bodies anywhere, that would be separation. So there's nothing separate in anybody's body. There's just one whole, call it life, justice. And now for me, justice is always lacking. So that's the suffering of the anxiety, the fear, it's never enough. It's never safe enough. So the me already assumes it's here. It starts from, well, I'm here, and now how can I make myself disappear? Well, no, that's not what this meeting is saying. It's saying that there's already, there's never been a me there, ever. Yeah, it turns out life doesn't need me. There's a surprise, right? Because to the me, everything depends on it. It's all up to me to make this thing work. So there's nothing wrong with anything. You can't go wrong. That's the beauty of this. It's all inclusive. So whatever your experience is right there is it already, right now. Just this. This is everything. This is the whole universe. There's nothing else. Like right, the me imagines that there's China and Japan and Mars and all kinds of things going on that I don't know about. No, just this. And what is this? Call it whatever you like, right? It really doesn't matter. Because whatever you think of it is going to be this too. So that's why it's as this becomes, let's just say, clearer, for lack of a better word, more obvious to you what's being shared here. When you see people arguing, it will jump out at you. Like you can see that one has a position that they're right, and the other has a position that they're right, and now we're gonna go to battle. So this blows all that up. This says there is no right and there is no wrong, because those are both concepts. Right or wrong depends on, which side of the coin you're on. If you liked what happened, it was right. Conversely, somebody hitting my car, it's wrong. So as long as my story has to look a certain way, and that's the thing about a me, it's always involved in story, improving the story, making it better, fixing it, getting it right. It's endless. The story is endless. It'll go on forever. So the me feels that its life is real and it needs a real solution. But actually, everything we say is real and unreal. And the reason we say that is because you can't say, is this really happening right now? Is it really not happening right now? seems to be happening, but where is it happening? Where is this right now, this happening? You'd say, where is the happening? Now, if you go to the mind and knowledge, you could say, well, you know, Earth or my office. You could give a concept in return. But if we drop all concepts, we don't go to concept, what's here? And so again, for the me, there is no concept because it's very real. I'm real, so I need a real solution. That's what the me says. I feel like I'm really here as a separate entity, and I don't like it, and I'm fearing death. Death is a problem, right? If I'm this body, then you might as well just go out and party because. But if you're not the body, if the body is another appearance, just like everything else, that was a, can we say, a case of mistaken identity, that as a child we were all sort of somehow indoctrinated, hypnotized, and so we imagine we're this body. Yeah, the idea of the me is a funny thing because it seems to be there until you look for it. Right? Nobody's ever found a me. And yet I'm always starting from that position as a me. Me is a position. It's like a point of view. It's a perspective. It's one perspective, but it's limited. And that's what the me can't get, that it's imagined. It's imagined, that it's not real. Like it doesn't know it's not real. If I can speak like that. So real is another concept. Real and unreal, those are both concepts, both words. There's just everything. That was my little rant last week when I said there's no such thing as spirituality. Nothing's more spiritual than anything else. There's just everything. So this is an open meeting. You're welcome to participate. If you have a comment or question, please unmute and jump in.
Yeah, hi, I'm Janet. My first time here.
Welcome.
So I'm happy to be here, and I enjoyed your sharing there. It just made me think, when you're talking about being a me, then I'm thinking about your sister too. And with the me comes all these feelings, and the me feelings get hurt. The me
Yeah.
got an email. The me gets angry. Oh man, so much easier not to be a me. So much more peace, you know. I don't have to work. I don't have to work at just being. I just it just frees everything up. Anyway, I just wanted to throw that in. I'm glad to be in. Thank
Beautiful.
you.
Beautiful. This is beautiful, Jan. Yeah, this isn't what the me is looking for. The me is looking for something special. The me is looking for something, what it thinks is special, and that can change, as you know. So the message here is that it's everything. So nothing is more special than anything else. Or you could say everything is the special, however you want to word it. Go ahead, Michael.
Welcome, Janet. Michael, what was said to your apparent sister who was angry and hurt? Was it your introduction was always spot on here, but in talking with people who are attached to the me, I find my language changes.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean, Michael. But I just couldn't help myself because when she said he could have just as easily not sent the email. And it's beautiful because that's how the me thinks. The me thinks some things can happen and some cannot, and it's a random, who knows, right? But I wish he hadn't sent it. We were good till then. I know that. So there's there's all these things the me knows. And the message here is, I don't know anything. We could say that me is knowing. We could also say me is imagined by no one. Dan did a very nice video on how knowing is a ghost. I really like it. Is it's a form, but there's no substance. You can imagine like a structure that was hollow, but it was lit up. So, you know, we thought maybe there was someone inside it or something. There was something solid there. That was his point. But no, all my knowledge is empty. All of it. It was all learned. It was all made up. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's painful when I take it to be real and serious. And the me is always going to take it as real and serious. It can't help but. Nkosi had a post recently about story. All there is story. That's it. That's what we got. We got stories. And their beauty is that they're all equally empty. That's the beauty. But it's not beauty, it's a nightmare when they seem real unsolid. And it's hell.
And the person is just living in my story. And so that's why the image of the ghost comes up, because me in my story can only be a ghost. There isn't any aliveness in a story. There isn't anything living. The only thing living is what is. It's the only thing that, or we could say is real. Solid is, in other words, there's something to it. There isn't anything to a story except story. I mean, there's lots of story in story, but and the person in the story, the me in my story, it can't be alive, can't be real, can't be anything solid or anything that is anything, because the only thing that is anything is just everything, just what is this. Not any story that we would tell about it. And that's where the me lives in all the stories. So, yeah. We'll never know what this is. And who needs to? Only the me. What needs to? Because as me, I need to know. I need to know so I can use it in my story, so I can get to where I'm going in my story. But we're all here already, just as everything.
We'll never need to know what this is a story.
Yes.
Without a story, can you say anything's happening? Hmm. It's like thoughts are little stories. Thoughts are like little mini stories that feel real. But what's real is just always what's right here. What's real never goes anywhere.
Well, but the story is also real, because you can't separate it off, because there's nothing separate.
Right, the story is real, but that's not what the me's interested in. The me's interested in what it imagined the story is telling and where it can get to.
But the me must be real, because there's nothing unreal. So the me imagining a story is also real, is also everything, is what is happening.
Yeah, what I would say about that is that, you know, when we get into using these words about real and unreal and what is real and what is unreal, you know, is what is, or this, what's showing up, what's appearing, is it real or is it not? Well, it isn't. It isn't actually anything. It's not actually something that is real or something that is unreal. Those words come later. They come down the river from it, you know. And we could say, really, we could tell whatever story we really want to, you know. At a certain point, it's just language kind of playing with itself, or just making philosophy or making a story, you know. It really doesn't mean anything to say this is real or this isn't real, because what it is, it collapses both of those words. It's beyond, or even beyond the word beyond. I mean, there isn't any word for it. And it doesn't, well, what I would say is it doesn't have anything to do with real or not real. So, but we talk about this because this idea, this word real, and this idea of real, and this, you know, being concerned with what is real and just figuring out what is it, you know, separating, that all comes from the me. So the me experience invented the idea of real, sponsored by me, brought to you by me, is this a whole idea of real. And because me is looking for real, I think I'm real and I need to know what's real because I'm on a journey and I need to know this stuff. That's about the knowledge, you know, I need to know what's real and what the real story is. So that's why we end up talking about real, not because it matters other than that, you know, it's just because the me is concerned with it. So that's why yeah. Without the me, it doesn't matter. There is no real or not real.
Well, delusions are real. They're real delusions. You know, I've had some of those and they were real delusions. Could tell you that, because what I thought was happening definitely was not happening.
Mm-hmm. And we probably all could tell stories like that. I mean, 10 times a day, you know, we make a mistake one thing for another or whatever, or find out what I thought wasn't quite true, or quite the whole story.
But there's only one reality, right? There's just one reality, and that's what we are. Aren't we it?
Well, everything is it.
That's what I meant. We is everything.
What, Zoe?
Tag, you're it. Oh. I had At the beginning, I think you mentioned something about just like noticing the when someone's seemingly caught up in a story or whatever, it just is so boom. Yeah, I was watching this student who was, just had his hands around his head and the world was crashing down on him, and there was no way that anybody could talk him out of it. And oh, it was it was it was just amazing. It's just amazing. Yeah, it's just amazing. So to have all that blown up and I don't know, not like the whole real and unreal thing that just doesn't make sense anymore. It's like that, like you, Dan, that thing about the ghost, the empty ghost, it's like it's just a mirage. There's just nothing there. Yeah.
Yeah, this whole business of real and not real, it's really just part of the me's looking for knowledge, looking for what is, and that's just part of the me's needing to use what's here, use this, all of this, whatever it is. I turn it into something to use. So I need to know about it, and I need to know, is it real or not, and all this other stuff. But this is not usable. It just isn't. There's nothing to use this for. There's nothing to take, nowhere to take it, nothing to make out of it. It's already. So it leaves really the me and its whole project out of it. But yeah, it can, the story of me can show up and be here, and it's all of it too.
For me, there's a spontaneity that occurs when I'm paying attention, I should add, when I'm attuned, that lets me address a family member that's suffering, or a student that's suffering. And in that moment, to the degree that I'm not strategic in my head, arguing real or unreal, or dual or non-dual, there is simply the natural what is from what arises and what is spoken or dealt with in that moment. And for me, there's a sense that I was practicing in the best way, whether I made call it a concession to the separate entity, or simply stayed more clinical, let's say, but it wasn't strategic in those moments. In hindsight, I'd note if I was playing mind games or trying to be tactical or strategic, but the best moments are those when I am simply expressing that compassion in the moment, as talking to a child or grandchild or friend or whoever, neighbor.
This doesn't see anyone as suffering.
Well, may I ask you, Michael, what was spoken to? How did you handle that which says not seeing anyone suffering? What was what was said to your distressed sister, or apparently distressed?
Well, just because I don't see a me over there doesn't mean that she can't see a me. You know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely.
There is no me in any
Mhm.
body, anywhere, at any time. Never has been, never will be. But it doesn't mean that you can't believe you're a me. And that identity can be very powerful. And there's no urge here to try and talk anybody out of anything, really.
I'm not talking about urges or tactics. What was said?
Well, that's what I'm saying, Michael. I mostly just listened
But fine, okay.
because she wanted to vent. She would, you know, I mean, I think if the guy had been there, she wanted to, you know, she was in rightly so in her experience. That's her experience.
Mhm,
You know,
mhm.
this was uncalled for, and how, you know, so there's no arguing with that. That's her experience. It's beautiful.
Yeah. That feels right here. I mean, I'm not judging or saying what was right or wrong for you, but for me, yeah, listening, the spontaneity of silence, just thank you. Thank you.
So there's listening, as was mentioned, and the question I have is, would there be any distinction or difference between a listening like from the mind or a listening from the heart? Would there be a
Mm, nice. Yeah, I would say, again, this is all story, but in a way there kind of is. Because if I'm listening from the mind, I'm going to want to give advice. But the heart's happy to listen. Just feeling
Well,
compassionate and love. Go ahead, Faith.
I was just going to say there's no right way or wrong way to handle it when your sister's talking to you or when you're talking to your sister. The thing that I've been blessed with from Kosi is that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether you listen, whether you tell her what she's saying shit, whether you embrace her, doesn't matter.
Mhm.
Because that's just all part of what's happening. And that is so freeing to me that I don't have to think up, oh dear, she's suffering and I must do it this way. I've got to listen well and blah, blah. I've been through all of that shit. And I can just relax and do whatever.
Well, yeah, exactly, Faith. I wasn't trying to listen well.
Yeah, right.
I was just being present with her. And she herself admitted, she goes, I know I'll get over it in a few days.
It's just that I've been in the trap of thinking because I've raised as a good girl, I've got to do it right and I've got to be the compassionate person, blah, blah, blah. And it's just wonderful to be able to just stop, let go, see what happens. Yeah.
Well, this is something that I learned from Alice and Nkosi's video. You know, how is it that Nkosi can listen to Alice's stories week after week and come with such love, such acceptance, such joy? It's because he doesn't see her as a separate person at all. He just doesn't.
Mm. Mm.
Where is that scene coming from, would you say, in that example? It's a beautiful example.
Speak of the devil.
I would say maybe that would be like energy, not really seeing or any of the emotions, but it would be just the energy that we are. That's the being that we're in.
Yeah.
Here, it's the question of, am I aligned with what is, as you said, the compassion and the love, or is there a request or something intuitive to be a little bit tougher, more direct, and maybe engage in some other language? But the proof is like a geometric QED, quote erat demonstrandum. How did that feel or go? If there's this niggling, talking to Alan, if there was a second thought, then perhaps I was not quite aligned with the flow of things, and a little too clinical, or maybe a little too silent, or but that's neither here nor there. That's also perfect just the way it is. But it's not a formula. It's not a strategy. It's just pure being, that loving expression that Nkosi week to week demonstrates for us as a living example.
Nkosi, I have a question. In fact, we were just discussing this the moment before you came online, and Michael was talking about how he was listening to our tapes week after week after week, and my stories week after week after week. I have my stories, and how you so lovingly, so lovingly met them. I never felt anything but love meeting my stories, and that was so powerful. So the question came up tonight: where does that love come from? Is there, I certainly have a sense of that, but is there something you can talk about more specifically about that, or is that just a redundant something we can't speak about?
Beautiful question. I would say it comes from that which can never be spoken, which is also what's asking a question right now. And that which seems to be giving an answer right now. So it's everything. It's just this. It can never be spoken. It can never be understood. It can never be known. Because it's all there is. It's what is. So it's already here. There's nobody to carry it. Even that which seems to be somebody who wants to carry it is already it. So at times I would say there is no escape. Because right now, any question that may seem to arise, It's just this wholeness, everything expressing as a question, expressing as an answer. As somebody who wants to go to the loo, as somebody who's not getting it, who's about to get it, as somebody who's feeling peace, who's feeling love. But it's all just this already. There's no journey. There are no steps to get to this. And there's nowhere to get to, because there's just this. There's just everything here. So it's just totality dreaming itself to be a person, to be an individual. And then when it recognizes, or it may seem to recognize that it has never been an individual, it has always been itself. Well, that's also what seems to appear in this as this. There's nothing separate here. There's nobody who's outside of this. And all these bodies are empty. Already. This, what seems to be an image, this behind it, it's empty. There's nobody here. Yeah, well, it may be said that, oh, it's Nkosi is talking, but right now there's just nothing here. And it's beautiful. So I would say this everything, wholeness, is unconditional love already. In its expression as an individual, it's still unconditional love. As an individual who's searching, who's tired, who's not getting it, who's hopeless, it's all just this. Yeah, so it's beautiful. Everything is beautiful. Everything is okay. Everybody's okay, I would say. Is already okay. There is no sufferer. There is no thinker of thoughts already. There is no finder of the truth already. There's no one who's searching. There's no doer. That thinking is just happening by itself. There's nobody doing it. So it's already unconditional love, which is everything and nothing. Yeah, that's what's coming up. Yeah.
You just give the definition of the love that you're speaking of. Because it seems like something to me. Love seems like something, not just what is. Because if it was just what is, there's no love. So, and I'm really interested in the love that you speak about.
Well, love that I speak about is everything, which includes the one who's asking a question right now. The one who's seeking, who's searching, who wants to know, is already the unknown, is already unconditional love, expressing that.
Unconditional love for what? If it's all just the way it is, what's the unconditional love for?
Well, everything here is just allowed to be as it is. You know, it's what is. Nothing is excluded. You know, there's no wrong or right. Anything may arise. Yeah, there may be swearing. There may be arguments, anger, frustration. Somebody leaving the group. So it's all just this. I would say it's unconditional love. Unconditional love is just one of the words, like wholeness, spaciousness, everything. But this as it is already worthless. Even words that were spoken right now, they can never be found. The word itself, this word unconditional love, these two words, they can never be found. So it's just everything expressing itself. There are no words already. There is nobody to find anything already. It's just everything. There's no you to find anything already. The finder is already not there. So all those questions, they are just arising in this, as this. There is nobody behind the question, behind those questions. There is nobody who's asking questions. It's just everything. They're just appearing and disappearing. So everything is okay. It's okay. Any question may arise, any answer might be given, but it's just nothing. And this doesn't mind.
Any last comments or questions before we close out this evening? Yeah, Constance.
So I wanted to let Janet know, since it's her first time and it was my first time last week, I downloaded the book and everybody should read the Nkosi's book. It's stunning.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, I agree, but I'm biased.
I want to say, I timed Nkosi, he spoke for like 11 minutes. And amazing what got said in 11 minutes. I mean, 11 simple minutes. And what got said was, I have no idea, you know, but I have no idea what was said, but I do have an appreciation, a deep appreciation for what was said. Yeah, so thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you to everybody. Yeah, send in a donation of any amount and I'll send you a PDF of the book. Just go to allisthis.net, allisthis.net. And that's our website I created for Nkosi and myself. It's got links to Nkosi's videos. It's got wonderful audios that I put music to, sessions with Alice. There's like 47 of them on there. They're beautiful. So do check it out. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night.
Thank
Iowa.
you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Bye.